On behalf of the Woodford County Republican Volunteers, we thank you all for turning out this morning. And it's kind of a tough situation. And before I proceed any further, I'd like to thank the volunteers for helping with this and getting out the publicity and that sort of thing. And I'd especially like to thank my wife, Elaine Rexroad, that baked a lot of cookies. And they won't do a thing for my waistline, I guarantee you, so take a lot of them home. Now others helped also, Mr. Eureka, Jerry Riley, the IRICs, the Walks, and others, and we appreciate all the support. And we appreciate people coming from Morton and over and to be with us this morning. Well, we have, as you all know, we're here to learn more about and hear from Doug Truax. And you might be aware he's a West Point graduate. He served 6 years in the military, Army Rangers, and the artillery part of that, I understand. Doug is 43 years old, you can see, and has that youthful vigor. I remember when I was 43, I thought maybe I was just going over the hill. Here I stand at the age of 72, and now I think I am going over the hill. But we, as you all know, need to retire our present senator and many, many more. And Doug, we really thank you. I'm sure taking a huge part out of your family life and your life to mount this effort. And I assure you that if I have anything to do with it, we in Woodford County will get out every vote for you we possibly can. Now we realize that it's kind of an easy effort because we're about wall-to-wall Republicans here. In my precinct, I have 8 Democrats that and have a lot more Republicans. But please help me welcome Doug Truax.
Thanks, Max. Thanks for everybody for coming out. I know it hasn't been easy, but here we are, and love the signs. That was really great. We drove up and Steve said, "Hey, look at that. That's pretty cool." And so you guys have a great reputation for doing a lot of hard work. I know it is wall-to-wall Republican here, but we were just talking over there just a second ago about how important it is to have downstate turnout. And you got to get the downstate turnout up. And if you don't do that, it's just not going to happen. I'll answer some questions here as we go through. Well, more towards the end, I want to share a couple things with you, kind of the ongoing, evolving stump speech, as it were. Just to get to quickly here, kind of why did I do this? So Max was saying I went to West Point, 6 years active duty Army. I actually have some classmates from West Point that were killed in combat. And for me to have a senator, any U.S. senator, much less my Illinois senator, stand on the floor of the Senate and compare our troops to Nazis and Soviets in the Gulag, I was deeply offended by that, and incredibly offended. Are there any veterans in here today? Thank you for your service, sir. And I imagine you were incredibly offended as well, as that goes along. And I just couldn't stand for that. That's one of those things I just said, this is enough. I can't watch this anymore. And you think about this whole Obamacare deal. So I'm a health insurance expert. That's what my company does. We work on group medical. So we spend a lot of time working on medical plans and everything else. And to have our U.S. Senator from Illinois and some of his peers get together in secret and emerge at midnight Christmas Eve 2009 with this half-baked scheme and pass it on a purely partisan basis, again, I was deeply offended. All right, is anybody here working the health insurance or medical field? Did they ask us? Nothing. I didn't ask me. Didn't ask guys in my industry. They just kind of cooked this thing up, and here we are. And we all know that it's unaffordable, unworkable, and unfair, and it needs to go. I think about education, and that is really the civil rights issue of our time. And we've got now generations of inner city kids that are being devastated because of this top-down control that is being pushed by, you guessed it, our U.S. Senator from Illinois. And we should own that issue as Republicans. We really should, because we just can't let this continue on as is. We've got to push back on this. Because if we don't educate our kids growing up, it's just not going to, the future is not bright for any of us. So we've got to work on that big time. Something else that I do a lot of is I create jobs. I'm a business owner. I know how the economy works. Senator Durbin, I think the only jobs that he's created are the two. He's got a wife that's a lobbyist and a son that's a lobbyist. So those are the two main jobs I think he's created so far. And, this economy, it just kind of keeps the stagnation going, because guys like Durbin, their answer, he's out there talking about minimum wage now, increasing the minimum wage. We all know that that's going to increase unemployment. Right? So what has he done to help the 380,000 people that have since become unemployed since he was last elected? So when he was last elected in this last election that 2008, unemployment was 5.2% in Illinois. It's 8.9% now. That's 380,000 fewer Illinoisans working now than back then. And what has he got to say for it? Increasing the minimum wage. All right, that's going to increase unemployment. Right. Something else about what I do in my life is running a business. I know what a P&L is, a balance sheet, all these types of things. And I know what it means for my family and my business to be careful with debt. Well, when Dick Durbin left Illinois to go to D.C., it was 1982. I was 12, right? And there was the country had a trillion dollars, less than $1 trillion of debt. Okay, we've got $17 trillion now. So we've got this incredibly underperforming economy, and his only answer is more debt. And that's not going to get us anywhere. It's just continued economic stagnation. So that's who he is. He's all about the past. I think, and I think you think too, that we have a much better future out there. There can be a way better way to go than what we're living through right now. So let's talk about a couple of those things. So let's talk about healthcare first. Who here thinks we can have a better healthcare system than we have now? More affordable, better, more personalized, okay? So what we have now from not to prolong the Obamacare conversation, but the things that we could do to actually drive costs down in our health insurance system, why wouldn't we allow the purchase of health insurance across state lines? Okay. That would drive a ton of competition across the country. It would bring prices down naturally. If you could buy a policy from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kentucky that had everything that you wanted in it, and they were able to price it based on where you lived, because they can do that, that would get your price down. All right? That would bring your premium down, and that would bring your deductible down, which would be huge for all of us. Instead, we've got Obamacare taking everything the exact opposite direction. All right? Personalized medicine. There is a movement afoot. It's been going on for years, and I've done this in my work because of the work we've done for different companies. To make medications designed specifically for your DNA. All right, so what that equates to over time is huge benefits for all of us. Longer, healthier, happier lives. And for our kids as well. But what stands in the way? A ton of FDA regulations. And I won't get into the details on this, but it is massive, all right? And the way that the people that die on lists because they're waiting for drugs to be approved in the FDA, that just moves this regulation strangulation, all right? That just keeps moving along, all right? So that is something that we could all benefit hugely from. Something else we wanted in healthcare reform was care for the uninsured. Well, we certainly are not going to get it with Obamacare because prices are now going up. And even if you qualify for a subsidy, the price was already so high, you still got to pay a lot out of pocket. So why wouldn't we take some money, instead of spending $1.6 trillion on Obamacare, we could take $40 billion and build clinics in places where the uninsured actually are. And we could have young doctors working off student loans there. We could have older doctors that are semi-retired helping out as they saw fit in their lives. And that would get the care to the uninsured, which is what we were looking to do as well.